Welcome to the Thrift Store Kitchen Review, where I test all the weird junk from the thrift store so you don't have to. Welcome to today's edition of the Thrift Store Kitchen Review. Has your ego ever told you, hey, why should I pay the professionals at the Chinese restaurant to cook my food? I can just make the same thing at home. Well, I've got something for you today. The West Bend Electric Wok, which I purchased at No Longer Bound Thrift Store in Woodstock, Georgia for $6.99. So let's take a look at our electric wok here. Unfortunately, it didn't come with a box or manual or anything like that, so there's no unboxing or anything exciting along those lines today. What you see here is what you have. You got the wok itself, it's got a lid, it's got a giant bowl. You can see a little bit of burning on this bowl right over where the heating element sits. It has one of these, the plug that has the temperature control on it. Now, here's the thing. This fundamentally just isn't really a wok. It's more of an electric skillet with a different shape. Number one, woks don't have nonstick coating. Number two, woks are meant to cook over very high heat, usually over a gas stove or an open flame. This thing only goes up to, I'm guessing, around 425. It says 400, but it has another line and it goes beyond that. But we're going to try it out and see what kind of results we get here. Okay, so now I'm ready to cook. Now, I'm not going to pretend that I know how to cook Chinese food. As I alluded to earlier in the video, I'd just rather leave that one to the professionals. So I'll be making some teriyaki chicken from Trader Joe's. First, I'm going to plug the wok in. Got our temperature control hooked up. And now it's plugged into the power outlet. I'm going to put a little bit of avocado oil here in the bottom. Not too much. And then I'm going to turn it on. See how long that takes to heat up, and then we'll pour our chicken in. Wow, that oil is bubbling already. This thing heats up fast. Yeah, that took no time at all to get hot. Let that sit for a minute with the lid on. Now, the one thing I worry about this thing is how well it actually transfers the heat. That is a very large bowl. I have the feeling I'm going to be stirring this chicken a lot. So it's only been about a minute. And look at how fast that chicken's cooking. Put that right there. Yeah, you have to constantly stir this thing because all the heat is just concentrated in the bottom. Yeah, look at that. The bottom is blazing hot, and look how long I'm just holding my hand on the outer portion of the bowl. Do not try that at home, by the way. I'm still stirring the chicken. What I don't like about this is that you're having to constantly stir it just to get it back down to the bottom of the bowl. That's the only spot that seems to be hot. The lid is basically useless because of how much time you spend shoveling this chicken to where it's actually going to get cooked. Like I said, this thing is basically just a reshaped electric skillet. And honestly, the electric skillet would be easier because more of the chicken would be sitting on top of a heat source. Yeah, so this thing is a royal pain. You step away from it for 30 seconds, and you immediately start to get that burning smell. Maybe the lid is useful if you're cooking something over low heat, but something like this, it might as well not even be there. And yeah, and then you touch the larger piece of chicken, and there's still somewhat frozen inside. Yeah, it seems there's a lot of better ways to do this. It's still cooking, and I found the best way to deal with the larger pieces is once they get soft enough to take the spoon and just kind of saw them in half into smaller pieces. There's another one. Cut that one in half. I mean, eventually this thing does what it's supposed to do, but it's just not great. Just a lot of better ways to cook. Okay, so the chicken's at the point now where it all seems like it's hot on the inside, so I'm going to turn the wok off. And then I'm going to add the sauce. Cut these two little baggies open. There's one. And there's two. Kind of stir it up with the sauce a little bit. Get it all over the chicken. Then I'm going to dump in some sesame seeds. I'm going to turn the heat back on. Stir this up and let it cook with the sauce for a few minutes. Hopefully get a little bit of char and caramelization on there. And we'll see how it comes out in the end. Alright, so we're just finishing up here. Chicken looks decent enough. Definitely got the sauce kind of burned onto the meat. Stir this around a couple more times. Then I'm going to cut the temperature off and unplug it. The one thing I do like about this is how fast it heats up and cools down. Beyond that, it comes off as a large device that really does very little. For a style of cooking I generally don't make. So I got myself a bowl of rice, which I made in my Zojirushi rice cooker, which is an actual good Asian cooking device. And I'm going to take a bite. That thing does not want to stay on the fork. It's not bad. It's just a bit of a nuisance to use. I don't see myself keeping this because it just takes up space. For something I'm not going to use very often, I just don't see myself really using it at all, to be honest. I don't need it in my house. If this is what you like to do, okay, but at the end of the day, as I said earlier, it's basically just a retooled electric skillet. So I'm going to eat some teriyaki chicken, I'm going to get this thing cleaned up, and then we're going to put it through its final test. Okay, so I've had dinner. The wok is, I guess what you could call cleaned up. This thing was a royal pain to clean. That spot around the heating element where the food just burns onto, there's no good way to clean it. Because of the non-stick surface, you can't use a scouring pad or anything like that, and a sponge isn't powerful enough. I had to sit there and dig it out with my fingernails till I got tired of doing it. So before I'm done with this thing forever, we got one more test. Will it glizz? Alright, so I'm going to plug the wok back in. Turn it on all the way. Going to put just a little bit of the avocado oil in the bottom. Let that heat up, which takes just a few seconds as you saw earlier. And it's already bubbling. And throw our hot dog in. Unfortunately, the hot dog is larger than the bottom of the bowl where the heat source is, but we're going to do the best we can with what we have. It's definitely frying in that oil. Let me flip it over, see how that side looks. Oh yeah, this thing is cooking fast. That hot dog just moved on its own. The side of the hot dog split, but that's only because I accidentally caught it with the knife when I was cutting the pack open. Oh yeah, that thing's cooking great. That's going to be a good hot dog. I think the hot dog's going to be the best thing this thing cooks. And that hot dog is self-turning. Okay, yeah, I would say that hot dog is definitely done. That is good, nice and burnt, just how I like it. I was trying to shake the oil off and I dropped it back in. All right, I'm going to throw this on the bun. Let that cool for a sec. Then I'm going to take a bite. Not only does this thing glizzes better than anything I've cooked with yet. That hot dog is delicious. Well, thanks for joining us today at the Thrift Store Kitchen Review. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, hit the bell for notifications about future content. If you'd like to follow us on Facebook, the link to that is in the description. Drop us a comment about what devices you would like us to seek out and test next. Be sure to get out there and support your local thrift store, and have a wonderful day.